And on a bitter cold night, we have a sad update in the search for a missing Newport News man with dementia. Earlier this evening, police told us they had located the body of 81-year-old Gerald Adams. 13 News Now reporter Megan Shin is live in Newport News near where that discovery was made. And Megan, Adams was found not far from his home.
That's correct, David. Newport News Police tells us they found Gerald Adams back here behind the Faith Deliverance Church in Newport News. We mapped it out, and that's only about 9-minute walk from his home here in Newport News. And it was a little bit of a further distance, and unfortunately, he did not make it home in time for this New Year's Day. The search ends for Newport News Police.
We did fence line.
And the agonizing wait is over for Gerald Adams' family.
I love you. I want you to come home.
Earlier today, we spoke with the Adams family, hopeful their loved one somehow would make it home safely, despite the bitter cold.
You're not dressed for this weather. Please, you just got to get home.
The family told us Adams was 81 years old and suffered from dementia. In the past 6 months, he'd wandered off more than 30 times. But in the past, he returned home each time.
If he said he was going to do something, he done it.
That is, until now. Around 5 o'clock, Newport News Police traced Adams' steps using police dogs in this Walmart parking lot.
We're very concerned because the sub-freezing temperatures, and it's only going to get worse tonight, so we're really hoping that we find him.
It wasn't until minutes later someone saw the news reports and went looking for Adams and found him behind a church just blocks away from the elderly man's home. The Adams family did tell us that they tried to reach out to social services for more than 6 months in order to get Adams into a program to provide him a little bit of that extra support that he needed. And unfortunately, they were unable to do that. They hit roadblocks at every single time that they tried to do so. And it was unfortunately not within time for him to make it back. Reporting live in Newport News, I'm Megan Shin, 13 News Now.
Something that can help families with loved ones living with dementia is Project Lifesaver. It's a program designed to help find people who wander away from home. The patient wears a small transmitter around their waist or ankle that puts out an individualized tracking signal. On average, we're told it takes 30 minutes to find someone. North Carolina and Virginia both participate in Project Lifesaver. We have information on the program on our website, of course, 13newsnow.com. Click links in the news under the local section. First day of the year brought a taste of winter weather and freezing cold temperatures. A viewer sent us this video of thin ice that formed on the York River in Yorktown. Because of the cold temperatures, Elizabeth City schools, Dare County schools, and Accomack County schools will open 2 hours late tomorrow. Evan Stewart is in the weather lab with a look at how cold things will start off tomorrow. Evan.
That's right, and it's not just the temperatures, it's that wind chill tomorrow morning that we're talking about that'll be brutally cold. These are air temperatures, and we're already seeing readings in the single digits. 7 degrees the air temperature in Chesapeake, 8 in Franklin and Wakefield, 7 up in West Point, 22 in Norfolk. That's because of the influence of the water, but again, we're looking at these brutally cold wind chills that'll be down into the single digits and near zero into tomorrow morning. We'll stop it here 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning as the kids are heading out to the bus stop. Again, 2 degrees will be the wind chill in Franklin, Newport News, Elizabeth City, 5 in Virginia Beach. And even if you wait a few hours, 8 o'clock still in the single digits. It's not until later into the morning and the midday hours that we look for those wind chills up into the teens. Then our attention turns to the next storm system. We've got the cold air in place. We've said this for a while that all it would take is a little bit of moisture moving in and we could get some snow, and that's what we're watching late Wednesday into Thursday. We'll watch an area of low pressure that'll develop down here off the coast of Florida. The main batch and the upper batch of energy is still back here over the Rockies. That'll dive southward and then combine and pick up some of that moisture and then develop off the southeastern coastline. It'll move parallel to the coast, but just close enough that coastal areas will likely see some accumulating snows. Now, these are the early numbers. It's still Monday, and this isn't supposed to start until about 6, 7 o'clock into Wednesday afternoon before we really start to see any kind of accumulation. So these numbers will change, but the general idea right now is probably 2 to 4 inches across much of Hampton Roads, lesser amounts down across the coastline where we'll likely see some rain mixing in, and there could be some pockets of heavier amounts. I'll have much more on that and the rest of our chilly forecast and when there might be some warmer weather coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Evan, thank you. Keep track of the cold conditions no matter where you are. Download the 13 News Now app for your smartphone or tablet. You can get updated forecasts anytime. If you have kids headed to the bus stop in the morning, you need to make sure they are dressed very warmly. When it's chilly or cold, 1 or 2 extra layers will do. But when it's extremely cold, like right now, you need 3 or more insulating layers, a face mask, a wind-resistant clothing of any kind when you head outside, and protect your fingers and toes with thick gloves and socks to prevent frostbite. Well, imagine coming home in these cold temperatures, hoping to relax and warm up, and instead finding your home flooded with frozen pipes that burst. It's a risk for all homes in these kinds of conditions. 13 News Now reporter Robert Boyd spoke with an expert to find out how to prevent this.
Well, tonight I spoke with a plumber who has been dealing with frozen pipes for 50 years, and he says there are some simple steps you can take to protect your home, like leaving the cupboard doors open to your kitchen sink.
When the temperatures get this low, pipes are going to freeze, pipes are going to burst, and plumbers, all the plumbers in the city in the Tidewood area will get calls.
Tom Fayette is the owner of Superior Plumbing. He expects 10 to 20 calls in the next few days regarding busted pipes. He has 4 crews standing by.
When it gets down to the mid-20s or below, then they will start to freeze. They get slushy like a 7-Eleven Slurpee.
It doesn't matter how new your house is. Tom says everyone is vulnerable.
And every type material, even galvanized pipes, will do this. We normally will leave this open in order to get the warm air from the living space on the pipes.
Tom says it's also important to make sure any openings on the outside of your home are sealed to keep out the wind. Even a draft could cause an issue?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The wind blowing in there will freeze the pipes.
Hoses should be detached from outside faucets.
Leave the hose on it, it'll retain that water and the hose bib will freeze and burst.
Tom also says there are some common tips that he doesn't believe in.
People say, leave your faucets dripping. I do not think that's much of a deterrent. And the reason I say this, if you've ever seen an icicle, that is water dripping.
He says the worst case, you have a pipe burst, but you aren't home to notice. So he says if you're going out of town and the temperatures are this cold, have your water turned off completely.
A half-inch line will dump one enormous amount of water out in 10 minutes, much less if it goes over the weekend.
In Norfolk, Robert Boyd, 13 News Now.
For many of this blast of freezing weather is just miserable, but for those living out on the streets, it's dangerous. The Norfolk Emergency Shelter Team says it's seen an increase in homeless people coming in for shelter. When Nest can no longer take in people at its 2 locations, that's when the city of Norfolk steps in and opens their doors at their Human Services building. But Nest says they still need help from the community.
We really need 3 churches some of the nights, some of the weeks, because we are getting up into such high numbers.
They also need donations of hats, gloves, and scarves. To learn more ways to help, look for this story on 13newsnow.com. It's been a violent start to the new year in Norfolk. Tonight, police are investigating 4 different shootings, 3 of them deadly. First, someone shot a man to death early yesterday on Tate Terrace. And before midnight, a woman was shot and killed on Virginia Avenue. A matter of minutes into 2018, another murder, this one on West 35th Street. And the 4th shooting left a man injured on Norview Avenue. Police say the victim on Tate Terrace was 19-year-old Trajan Rivera. His uncle tells 13 News Now the shooting was likely an accident, but the family is devastated.
He had dreams, and he had goals, that he wanted to achieve. He just didn't make it there.
Police haven't released the names of the other victims or announced any arrests. Well, drivers, listen up. It now costs more to go through some of the area's busiest tunnels. Tolls have increased for the 4th time at the downtown and midtown tunnels since tolling began in 2014. It now costs $2.09 to drive through either tunnel during peak hours. If you have an Easy Pass, that is. It's more if you don't. Drivers crossing the Jordan Bridge in South Norfolk are also paying more tonight. The one-way toll went up 10 cents for Easy Pass drivers today. For more information, go to our website, 13newsnow.com.